In exercise 5.6, question 1C, we are told that the cost price is $15.75. So $15.75 is our cost price. We're also told that the profit, and I'm assuming that this is our net profit, it's $2.18. So my net profit is $2.18. That's my bottom line. So again, I'm going to revert to my income statement. Selling price minus cost price, or sales minus cost of goods sold, is equal to your markup, or also called your gross profit. We also refer to this as our gross profit. Minus our expenses is our net profit. We're told that the rate of markup based on cost, the markup rate based on cost, is equal to 15.5%. So 15.5% of cost price. This is absolutely critical. You have to know what a percentage is based on. So given that you know that the markup rate is 15.5% based on cost price, we now can state that markup is equal to 15.5% of cost price. What that means is that I'm going to go to where 100% of cost price is, and that's in my cost price row. So we've got 100% of cost price here. Again, because we have like terms, we can work backwards and figure out what goes in the top row. If I have to subtract 100% of cost price from selling price and be left with 15.5% of cost price, the only logical value that can go up in here in the very top row is 115.5% of cost price. So 115.5% of cost price minus 100% of cost price leaves me with 15.5% of cost price. Now, of course, now that you've got these numbers filled in, and you also happen to know that cost price is equal to $15.75, we can actually figure out the amount of markup and the amount of selling price, or the regular selling price. So 15.5% of the cost price, which is $15.75, that would amount to a value that is equal to $2.44. You could also calculate 115.5% of the cost price being $15.75. That'll give you a value that is equal to $18.19. And of course, you now realize that you could have simply added these two amounts, and you could also have obtained $18.19, because we need to subtract the cost price from the selling price. Now the expenses, how much are the expenses? How do we calculate the amount of expenses? Well, we now know that the markup is $2.44, and we know that the net profit is $2.18. So what's the difference between the two? That will be our expenses, and the expenses amount to 26 cents. So I'll subtract 26 cents from my gross profit. That leaves me with $2.18 for net profit. So again, you can use the formulas on your formula sheet. I just find it a lot simpler and more logical and a more practical way to solve these problems using the income statement approach. Now, what happens next in this question? What happens next is that we have a markdown. And the markdown is equal to, how much is the markdown? The markdown is equal to 5.5%. 5.5%. Oh, we're also asked to calculate the rate of markup, the markup rate based on the selling price, and that would be equal to simply the ratio between markup to selling price, and that would be $2.44 expressed as a percentage of the regular selling price, which is $18.19. That amounts to a markup rate that is equal to 13.41%. So a markup rate of 13.41% is equivalent to a markup rate of 15.5% on cost price. 13.41% on sales is the same as 15.5% on cost. Now let's go back and figure out what the reduced selling price is. The reduced selling price is equal to the regular selling price of $18.19 multiplied by 1 minus 5.5% markdown. That leaves us with $18.19 times 100% less 5.5%. And when I take 5.5% out of a regular selling price, that leaves me with 94.5% of that regular selling price. So our reduced selling price now is going to be equal to $17.19. And now with the reduced selling price, I can now work out what my reduced net profit will be. And I'll do that on